Joe Carter to come up.
You got the man in black up here now. I brought to give you a little history of this place. See that double poplar behind you back there? I was born in a little old two-room cabin, not over 50 feet west of that, just about straight up from the museum. And Daddy had built a little two-room boxed house. That was before my time. That's where I was born. And he built 2 rooms and built a chimney on the other end and put the fireplace on the other side. And some of the Harpers come down and said, Doc Carter's going crazy as a goon. He said he got the chimney on the wrong side of the fireplace on the wrong side of the chimney. They didn't know he'd planned to put another room or two to it, you know. But that was where I was born, right the other side of that. 1945, I got out of the Navy. The store was then, it's now a museum. Daddy he'd gone into the good business. And he didn't have all the storm sheeting on it. Of a night he had to sleep down there and he kept a shotgun with him. Nobody broke in on him. He sold all the stuff he ever bought, and most of it got out on brown paper. He never got paid for it. But there was neighbors, he couldn't turn them down. And Jeanette was talking how calm and pleasant my daddy was, but she was never the one. She's more like a baby girl. He didn't get rough with her, but then, let me tell you, I've had him stirred up several times for me. And I recall one, I went over in the Little Valley to get some milk. He had some tenants over there milking a cow. And I got to playing with them kids and forgot what time it was. And it was dark when I headed back. Well, I seen a great big dark object coming towards me. And I got out of the road up in the bushes with my bucket of milk. And it was my daddy. He was going after me and he had his switch. So I come on to the house. I knew it was Katie barred the door. And I found a couple old mule shoes and I put one in each hind pocket. And when he got on my rear end, his switch went all to pieces when it hit them mule shoes. And you can call it very peaceful if you want to, but now he got rough with me. And one time I remember getting 3 a day. One day I got 3 whippings over an old sow that took a slop bucket out of my hand for one, and I couldn't help it. I was just a kid, but I'm not sure what the other one was. And even my mother, when she got riled up, she could use a switch too. I laid down a new thing here in this valley, streaking. The train was coming up. I shook my clothes off, and me and that train had a race up the road. And my older sister, Gladys, my mother was over, Miss Larkins lived over on the hill, said, "Hey, Mommy, get over here." I said, "That young'un strict naked running that train right up the road." And she come across that bottom. I seen her stop at a maple tree and get a big limb. Well, I knew what was coming off. But Mommy didn't do like Daddy. She said, "You come out from there, little man." I just laid like a dead possum back there or something. She sent Jeanette in to get me underneath the house. I laid there just didn't move. And the old chickens had been in there dusting and had the ground all worked up, you know. Jeanette got up pretty close to me and I just made a regular thunderhead out of that dust right in her eyes and mouth. Well, there she went, a spitting and a hawking, had tears, and she sent Gladys, my older sister, in. And Gladys, she started up there to do the same thing, and I just made another big thunderhead, go out there dust. chicken litter and everything else, you know. Mama said, okay, little boy, when you do come out, I'll get you. Well, I stayed in, it was getting dark. And where they laid rock under that old porch, there's cracks under there that big. And I got to looking at them cracks, and my gosh, there might be a low-down copperhead back in there. And I sneaked out from under the house, it was getting dusky dark, went around the house, got in the bed, covered up, and I didn't have the cover. I just flattened out like a fried egg, where it didn't make no hump. I hoped she'd forget about it, but boy, she jerked that switch back, and that switch eat me up, legs, back. I was still naked. Dang. And Jeanette was talking about Daddy going up the road with the big grin and the humming and the going on. And Don was with him. And it was close to Christmas, he had some firecrackers in his pocket. And he'd light one and throw it out, you know, it'd go off. Well, he lit one through it, it didn't go off. He went and picked it up and looked, it was all right, he stuck it in his pocket. And it went off in his pocket. That like to tickled my daddy to death. He didn't laugh about it just that one day for a week. He'd think about that and bust out. And right here where we're all at, used to be an orchard here that belonged to Cab Hensley, right where this cabin is. And there was a big two-story cabin right on down there. I don't know whatever happened to that. Cab Hensley owned it. And that's about it. I've spent many a night in this old cabin over with Dub and Uncle Herman and Aunt Ori. And I'm telling you, get some rough storms over in that place. I was over one time, it had come a big windstorm up that little valley. And they had a clothesline to the crib. And the clothesline run out to an apple tree. And that wind got so hard it blew that apple tree over, and when it went down, it jerked the crib over. That's just the way some of the stuff I went through with. But it's been a lot, and all of it's past and gone, and we're just following about the same footsteps, you might say. They're like me, all of them is. Thankful for what we have got. Glad you all got to come see us, especially me. Thank you now.